For today's video, we're going to talk about what are full bell lines, full bands, full torch, full steps nickels, and maybe spend a few minutes on full head standing liberty quarters. Hey everyone, this is RobFindsTreasure and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss some of the unique characteristics that you will find on Ben Franklin half dollars, on Mercury Dimes, on Roosevelt Dimes, and of course on Jefferson nickels. Now, a lot of collectors are always looking for coins that are well struck, and the characteristics that we're going to be talking about today are the full bell lines on Ben Franklin half dollars, the full bands on Mercury Dimes, the full bands or full torch, depending on who's grading the coin, on Roosevelt Dimes, and of course, full steps on Jefferson nickels. Now, these designations sometimes have a lot of confusion around them about what they mean. What should I be looking for? So I figured for this video, we'll take a little bit of time and I'll be doing a voiceover with some images. Typically, I don't love doing videos in that fashion, but there's a lot of information to cover, and I want to make sure that we stay focused on what it is that these designations mean. So with that being said, let's spend a few minutes and talk about full bell lines, full bands, full torches, and full steps nickels. And I will make one note. There is another unique characteristic found on standing liberty quarters. That would be the full head designation. But because there's typically 3 different full head designs, and the fact that typically not very many of us will be looking for full head on our SLQ examples, there's really no need to discuss that for this video. All right, we've talked long enough. Let's jump right into the voiceover with images, and hopefully you enjoy the video. So first up, we're going to talk about the Franklin half dollar and what you need to be conscious of in order to get the full bell lines designation, or FBL. Now, it shouldn't surprise you that most of the full bell line Franklin half dollars graded by both PCGS and NGC are usually in mint state condition. However, they don't necessarily need to be in mint state to qualify for the FBL designation. FBL designation is not used for Franklin half dollar proofs because they're assumed to have already been well struck. We're talking about regular strike, business strike, Franklin half dollar coins. As many of you know, the Franklin half dollar has an iconic Liberty Bell on its reverse. To qualify for NGC's full bell lines designation, or even PCGS's full bell lines designation, all the horizontal lines on the bell must be distinct. Often the strike can leave the lower bell lines incomplete, and you'll find that on many of your Franklin half dollars, especially if they've been circulated. The rarity of the full bell designation varies across the series, although it is worth mentioning that coins minted in San Francisco consistently have the most trouble qualifying for the designation on the reverse. So obviously keep your eye out for any of those 49Ss, 51Ss, 52S, 54S, and especially the highly valuable and rarely seen 53S with full bell lines. So next up, we're going to talk about the Mercury Dime and what full bands or full split bands designation means. Now, on the reverse of the Mercury Dime, it features a fasces, or a group of rods held together by bands at the top, center, and the bottom. What you're looking for on this reverse in order to qualify for both NGC's and PCGS's full bands designation is that the 2 central bands must show a full separation, basically a recessed area between them. Obviously, the top and bottom group of bands must also show the separation, but what you'll find more often than not is that the center bands are the most prone to wear and typically are what disqualify many of the Mercury Dimes from receiving this designation. Now, obviously, it depends upon the year and the mint mark combination for how rare a full bands designation can be on a Mercury Dime. For example, there are several thousand 1945D Mercury Dimes that have been certified, but only 1/3 of them received the full bands designation. Conversely, of the 1945 Mercury Dimes that have been certified, there are less than 30 of the 45Ps that have a full band designation. So obviously, the 1945 Mercury Dime with full bands designation carries a substantial premium. And to be honest, pretty much every single Mercury Dime minted from 1931 and older with full band's designation carries a substantial premium as well. Next up, we're going to spend just a minute or so on the Roosevelt Dime. Because it's similar to the Mercury Dime, you're going to be looking for some of the exact same features. Now, on the reverse of the Roosevelt Dime, it does feature a torch that has bands at both the top and the bottom. To qualify for PCGS's full band or NGC's full torch designation, both pairs of these bands must show that same separation we're looking for in the Mercury Dimes, and the vertical lines of the torch must also be defined. Pretty basic, same thing, full band separation, and the only additional thing is that you have to have the vertical lines on the torch fully defined. Now, because they're a more modern coin, the Roosevelt Dimes, the full band designation, don't really fetch a substantial premium when you find those coins. I will make mention, though, that a full band Roosevelt Dime still fetches a premium, especially on 1949 San Francisco minted Roosevelt Dimes, which are a lot more scarce. The last designation we're going to talk about today is the Jefferson nickel full steps designation. Now, basically, full steps designation on Jefferson nickels is referring to the base of the Monticello building on the reverse of the Jefferson nickel. Obviously, what we're talking about here is coins that have been fully struck. In order to receive the designation, there must be no disturbance of the steps due to strike weakness, contact marks, planchet problems, circulation wear, you name it. Now, both PCGS and NGC both use the abbreviation FS to designate full steps. One of the things I want to make sure you're aware of is that only regular strike coins, not proof coins, graded in MS60 or higher can receive the designation. Now, PCGS awards full steps designation for coins displaying both 5 and 6 steps, while NGC, who used to only award full steps for coins displaying all 6 steps, started in February of 2004, refining their qualifications and began using the designations 5FS and 6FS based on the number of complete steps visible. One of the easiest ways you can differentiate between having full step Jefferson nickels and not is to count the number of lines you see at the reverse at the base of the Monticello. If you see 4 full non-separated lines, you have a 5 full step nickel. If you count 5 full lines, you have a 6 full step nickel. Now, I'd be remiss without pointing out that it's almost impossible to find full step Jefferson nickels in circulation. As a matter of fact, it is estimated that very few were even struck straight from the mint with full steps to begin with. Some particularly difficult Jefferson nickels to find in gem condition with full steps include the 53S, 61D, 63D, 65, 68D, 69D, and 70D. There are also some examples that have never been graded with full steps, such as the 1967 and the 1969S. I personally think your best bet for finding Jefferson nickels that have been struck with full steps is to go ahead and search your uncirculated mint sets from the 50s and 60s, because there could be some hidden gems within those. Well, I think that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. As a reminder, I am on the road to 100,000 subscribers, so if you're enjoying the content or you at least enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a subscription and maybe tapping the bell icon so that you get notified of future videos. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video with me today. If you did enjoy it, though, I would appreciate that thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting, and thanks for watching.